Hi, I'm Zoe. Welcome to my BookTube channel. I thought I'd kick off my venture into longer form content with something nice and simple. I read 8 books in the month of September, so this is my little September reading wrap up. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood follows Scarlett, a competitive diver, and Lucas, who is a competitive swimmer. The two of them don't really know each other that well. They're in the same circles, but not really friends. That is until one day a big secret is revealed and everything between the two of them changes forever. The two of them decide to go into a bit of an agreement between them where they kind of get what they need from each other, but there's no strings attached. We can imagine how well that goes for them. Overall, I enjoyed this. I am an Ali Hazelwood girl. I have loved most of her full-length romance novels. They're kind of opposites, Lucas and Scarlett, in a lot of ways. So Lucas is very much, he thrives in discipline, seemingly quite a cold, kind of affrontive person, and Scarlett kind of brings out a different side out of him. Scarlett's dealing with her own issues. She's recovered from an injury, but is now struggling to kind of get over her fear of re-injury. And it's interesting to kind of see their relationship outside of just the physical, like the way that they kind of help each other through all the struggles that they've got going on. I really enjoyed that. This is my least favourite of Ali's books, and I think that mainly stems from something that I just couldn't get over in this book. And I think if you've read it, you'll understand this. I'm trying to talk without really spoiling anything. There is a third person in this dynamic, and I don't mean that in not in that way, but there is a third person in this that kind of creates this bizarre dynamic. And as much as that is part of the plot, I couldn't really see past it and how in reality that would probably cause more problems than it seemed to cause. And I think I couldn't see past that dynamic. It just didn't feel, I don't know, something about it I couldn't see past, but I did still enjoy it. I also think that some of the, how do I put this, themes of the book could have been explored a little bit more. I don't know whether we were kind of over-promised or whether that's just the preference of how much more I would have liked that to have been explored. I don't know. But overall, it was still solid. I still enjoyed it. I like them as a couple. I kind of liked where their journey went. It was just the extra bit. It was just that additional person that I just felt, I understand why they were there. I just could have done without it. I don't know, still a solid read. Next up is The Wager by David Grann. This is a non-fiction history book. I've kind of been venturing into more non-fiction this last year. It's been a goal of mine to really focus on reading some more non-fiction. And I saw the cover of this and I was like, I need it. I love a book set on the sea, and this takes us right along the journey. So The Wager was one of a number of vessels that left the shores of England in 1740 on a secret mission against Spain. A small kind of pulled together ship ends up crashing into the shores of Brazil with the surviving crew of The Wager, and then 2 years later another crew washes up somewhere else with a completely different story to tell, and there is a court-martial trial back in England to try and work out what went on. I did do a bit of a review of this on my Instagram, so if you're interested in that, I'll pop it in the description below. But essentially this is written in quite a narrative style, to be honest. You kind of follow it from start to finish, from everything from the problems that they had on shore before the ship even left on the mission to them coming back and what the trial kind of looked like. You learn a lot of what happened in this through journals and different formal documentation. I think the author did a really good job of taking those journal entries, taking those documents, taking the maps and the other kind of archive stuff and pulling it together to make a really satisfying narrative. This honestly read like a fiction book. It was really interesting, really engaging. It had great pace. That you felt like you were on the ship in the horror and on the island in that kind of, because the crew of The Wager did end up on an island off the coast of Patagonia. It's completely deserted. There's nobody there. It's the 1740s. There's no infrastructure. And you kind of see that Lord of the Flies-esque view of what happens when men are just left to fend for themselves, and the kind of the panic, the structure that some of them are kind of leaning into and they want to maintain that hierarchy, and then others that are damn the hierarchy, I'm in charge now. And I thought that was kind of interesting. You kind of see the different personalities that come out of a situation like that. And then yeah, these men were so messy in the way that this was all handled. The way that all the different sides to the story kind of came together was absolutely wild. But yeah, I think this was great for a history book. I found it really engaging, really exciting. Another one of this author's books was reduced as an ebook, so I have got that to read soon, so I'm really excited. But yeah, I'd recommend this. If you like books set on the sea, I really love The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. The Isles of the Gods by Amy Kaufman is also a really good one. Red Seas Over Red Skies, which is part of the Gentleman Bastards trilogy. This really scratched an itch, although now I want to know about every shipwreck ever because it was so damn interesting. When the museum is closed, this was very kindly sent to me by Vintage Books, so thank you very much. As much as this was sent to me, all thoughts are my own. This follows Rika, who gets a new part-time job at a museum, and her whole job is when the museum is closed on a Monday, she has to go in and converse with a statue of Venus de Milo entirely in Latin. Throughout her conversations and time spent with Venus, Rika starts to really kind of fall in love with her. I think what was most interesting about the conversations that they had was the things that Venus was interested in when her and Rika were talking, and then also kind of what Rika learned from Venus. There was also some really interesting commentary, I guess, from Venus about how as a statue, she's quite literally objectified because she's a statue, but then also like the being that she is inside, because in this, it's kind of like magical realism in that the statue is sentient. Yeah, the way her sentience plays into the way that she views her position in the museum and how she feels about the people that come in and interact with her every day. Overall, it was super charming, really. There was something about the main character that was really endearing, if not, she was like equal parts endearing, but then a little bit off-putting as well in the ways that she sort of presented herself and described herself. But overall, a cool read. It's time for my favourite book of September. If you follow me on Instagram, this will not be a surprise to you in the slightest. Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I have been in a Richard Swan era. I read the Empire of the Wolf trilogy and I went straight into this. Do I think you need to read it to read this? I would. Don't think you have to. I just would personally. I had a stunning experience. This is phenomenal. This is the fantasy that I crave. It's grim, it's dark. The world building is so good. It's exquisite. Swan's character work is some of my absolute favourite. I love the way he builds his characters. They're complex, they're interesting. Their motive, sorry, there's fluff. Oh, God. Their motives are really, really clear. I was just continually shocked by the events of this book and what happened. It continued to surprise me, which I'm finding more and more difficult kind of the more I'm reading. I will look to be surprised more often, and this had me on my toes the entire read. As I said, this is set in the same world as the Empire of the Wolf. It's set a couple of hundred years later. The Empire is on the verge of a revolution. Magic and sorcery and all of that has been outlawed. The way the world works is very different to how it is in the Empire of the Wolf. To the north, there's a plague. To the south, there's a proxy war. So there's all kind of chaos going on. And then two monks turn up to speak to the Empress and they're like, we can't commune with the dead anymore. I know it's outlawed, but we kind of still do that. And we can't commune with the dead, and we think that's a problem. There's a whole doomsday scenario going on, and one of our main characters, Renata, is kind of tasked to go work with these people and go work with people that still use sorcery to work out what's happening, basically. And there's some other really good POVs in this. This one's multiple POV. Empire of the Wolf is just told from one of the characters, and I loved the different points of view. I just felt like they were really unique. Their motives were such a range, really. Like the way that Swan kind of explores morals and ethics, I find really interesting. He's a lawyer as well, or was a lawyer. I don't know whether he practices anymore, but you can really see the way that kind of like plays in, particularly with Empire of the Wolf, but also a little bit with this. I had such a good time and I will not rest until I have my hands on the second book. It was so good, but a really satisfying end to the book as well. And I just think this series is going to be so exciting, especially like the fantasy, grimdark fantasy community. I think it's going to be fab. I also read an arc of How to Hold Someone in Your Heart. I read the first book last month, really enjoyed it. This book again was great. You kind of follow this go-between who connects people living with someone that has died that they know is a family member, a friend, or a celebrity, as it was in the first book. I enjoyed how this developed from the first one. There's not really a whole lot to say. It's kind of a bit of a rinse and repeat pattern, really, where you follow these different characters meeting someone that's died. I found this one more emotional than the first one, but I think it's because of the reasons that they were looking to connect with someone they'd lost. I think this was great. I enjoy a lot of translated fiction like this anyway, so this was just right up my street. Had a great time and I would recommend both of them. My main audio pick for this month was The Gate of the Feral Gods by Matt Dinniman. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 4. There's not a whole lot I can say about this without getting into spoilers, but overall, I'm loving this series. I'm devastated that I enjoy the audio as much as I do because it's an exclusive to a certain platform, but they are fantastic. I'm enjoying how the world is progressing and expanding. We're kind of getting to see a little bit more of the politics in the background and how that kind of informs the levels and the experiences that Carl and Donut kind of have. I'm having a great time with it. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one goes because the epilogue of book 4, oh my God. Matt Dinniman is out for blood with these books. It's crazy. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I did not enjoy it. Didn't work for me. It's worked for a lot of other people though. The premise is body was found at the back of this Black Cat cafe, which is a renowned brothel. There was also a dead cat involved. I couldn't connect to it. I wasn't interested in any of it. I was devastated that I didn't enjoy this. I really wanted to, but oh well. The book I think we've all been seeing everywhere this month, Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. My demand avoidance really kicked in with this one and I could not bring myself to start it. I think I was so scared of not enjoying it, but I wasn't disappointed. I had a great time with this one. Katabasis follows Alice and Peter, who are both student magicians, and they are venturing into hell to save the soul of their professor, as their entire future is in his hands, or at least his recommendation could impact their entire future career prospects. So they've risked their lives and each other venture into hell to go find him. Babel by R.F. Kuang is one of my favourite books of all time, so I had really high hopes going to this. I don't like to compare books too much, but this didn't quite give me the same feeling as Babel did, but I still had a good time. I love Kuang's writing style anyway. I think her prose is beautiful, and I love the references to other texts, so like Dante's Inferno is referenced all the way through, and that really does it for me. I quite enjoy that, and I know that won't be for everybody, as we saw with Babel, but I really enjoyed that. I overall enjoyed her depiction of hell, kind of see the different theories between Alice and Peter about the different tiers of hell, and I thought that was nice. That kind of really highlighted their rivalry. I really enjoyed how Kuang explored the burnout and the pressure and the expectations that people in academia face, and like the struggles that can kind of give them, and the chronic illness representation as well, which was a real surprise. I won't say any more about that, but that was handled quite well, I thought, and like added more layers to the characters as well. I didn't feel particularly connected to either character. I wasn't invested in their story. I was like, okay, the premise is fun, but I couldn't bring myself to particularly care, which I think is what also made this a bit of a slog for me to get through at the start. As much as the writing was beautiful, I just wasn't invested in what was happening. But then as you get to know the characters a little bit more, they begin to share a bit more with each other. I just found myself more invested, and I think that's when it started to click for me. Like everything came together, the references, the writing, the world building, the characters, it all started to work, and in the end I had a good time. I don't think this will be a favourite for me. I love it for what it is. I think it's going to be another Marmite book. People are going to love it, people are going to hate it, people are going to love to hate it. I enjoyed it. I think this was a good read, worth the wait. That was everything I read in the month of September. It was a pretty good month. I'm excited for October. Lots of books on the TBR. I can feel my NetGalley shelf staring at me. If you have stayed to the end, thank you so much. This is my first proper long form video. I've been making some short form content over on Instagram, and I'm now also braving the clock app. But I've wanted to make long form content for a really long time because I do love a good yap, and the algorithm on Instagram in 3 minutes. What can I do with that? What can I do with 3 minutes? Not a lot. So I'm really excited to give this a go. Let me know your favourite book you read in September in the comments if you made it all the way to the end. If you want more bookish content from me, you can follow me on my Instagram. And as I say, I'm on TikTok and stuff now as well. Please also be sure to like this video and subscribe. I can't believe I'm saying that. I feel like I'm having like an out of body experience. It would be great to build a little community here. I love the community over on Bookstagram, and I would love to join in with the already fantastic community here. So please do that if you enjoyed. I hope you had a lovely September, and I hope October is filled with some fantastic atmospheric fall spooky reads, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye. I'm literally sweating. I feel like I blacked out for the last half hour of trying to get this filmed. I don't know how people do this all the time. I'm so stressed. I feel like I've been talking nonsense for the last half hour. I have no idea whether what I said was in any way succinct, made sense. I have no idea. So we'll just have to see when I edit it. Hopefully it's fine. Well, I hope it went well, future me.